On today's solo, I wanted to talk about routine and how I love time blocking in my schedule, as well as how I've learned a lot about time blocking and being productive within my business and my day-to-day. I follow a lot of YouTube channels. Basically, all of my YouTube is how to schedule, living up to your full potential, or suggestions you can implement into your routine day-to-day to finish off 2023 with a solid routine. Now, this kind of made me think, you know what, this would be a great podcast episode, just talking about routine and how I am productive on my day-to-day and how running two businesses, as well as having a dog, a fiance, a household, and what a day in the life of myself looks like. So my day doesn't always start right first thing in the morning. I usually actually prep my day the night before. I am a huge paper and pen person. I know there is a ton of apps out there. I've tried a lot of them. And for whatever reason, paper and pen works the best for me. For our businesses, we do use Slack for the spa. And we also use Monday.com for our other business with Muskoka Beauty. But for my personal to-do list, I do actually use my notes in my phone for a more detailed list or if I'm out and about. But my actual checklist of things I need to do at my computer or at home is that paper to pen. I find there's nothing more satisfying than crossing something off your list as you're going through that day-to-day tasks. I also love time blocking within my schedule, whether that's on just my Google Calendar and knowing each hour exactly what I'll be doing. So I always prep that night before of what I'll be doing, as well as anything like my inbox. Usually Sunday nights, I try to clean out my inbox as much as possible on all my emails and prepping for if there's any appointments available at the spa so people know what the availability is like, as well as for my staff to be able to share and promote themselves as well if there's any openings there. And then usually I try to get to bed definitely at a reasonable time. I find I was definitely kind of getting back into that routine. I mean, summer, it's hard because it's still light out. You want to do lots of things, but I try my best to try to go to bed around 10 o'clock or 10:30, at least be in like my nighttime routine, trying to get off my phone. I've been actually charging my phone away from my bedside table as well. I feel like that's really important of actually stepping away and not having your phone right beside you. I also am one of those people, if my phone is right beside me, I will then have like a brilliant business idea or something I want to purchase online, kind of more like that impulse decisions. And instead, I can't reach my phone and I don't want to get out of my comfortable bed to actually be able to pick up that phone. So that's something that I find is really important. I also have all of my do not disturbs on. I make sure to have my staff available on those if they have to call me in the morning. I'm kind of on call a lot, to be honest, at the spa. So if one of my girls can't come into work in the morning or something's going on that they aren't able to make it in, I'm kind of that person that they call to be able to get in first thing to be able to cover those appointments in that day. So I always make sure that my phone is on volume on those notifications that they are able to push through on the do not disturb. Same with family, in case there is an emergency or something were to happen. But yeah, I feel like I definitely am not perfect. I could probably read more before bed. I feel like I try to get into these routines, but I just feel like I'm reading a lot throughout the day, whether it's emails or blogs or information and education. So I really do. That's something I need to work on, is definitely doing that, as well as I think just being off phones and technology before bed. We were in a really great routine with my, I have a little mini doodle at home here, Millie, and I feel like we're in a great routine of walking her before bed. We would do this little loop in our neighborhood, and I just found it was nice to get outside to kind of just breathe in some fresh air before going to bed and just kind of step away from technology and the outside world. And that's something I definitely want to get back into. But recently in the morning, I've been actually walking her in the morning. So when I get up in the morning, I have my hat, my clothes that like my yoga shorts or pants, as well as a top I throw on right away. And I take her out for a couple kilometer loop, the bigger loop that we do in the morning. And it's just a great way to start the day. I try to get something into my system, whether that's like a muffin or something, like a piece of fruit or something before going out for my walk and drinking some water. And I find it's just a great way to enjoy the morning. I usually put a podcast on, or a lot of the time I just listen to the birds. We are in like a very, we're in town where we live, but it's really nice because we do have a lot of nature around us. And I find it's a great way to see that kind of that calmness before the storm, I guess, of how your day is going to pan out. So I usually just take my AirPods and my phone and my little fanny pack, and I make sure to have a hat on, a little bit of sunscreen, of course, and then we go out for our walk. And then when we're back, I definitely have my coffee. I'm not a huge breakfast person. I never have been, but I definitely do feel better when I eat it. So I try my very best to eat something in the morning. For whatever reason, I do want carbs. Like I crave like a bagel or toast or something like that. I'm not a huge egg person. I force myself to eat eggs. I don't know what it is. They kind of weird me out. I think because I worked at a farm when I was younger and we used to deal with chickens all the time and stuff. So I don't know. There's some weird thing about eggs, but I do force myself to eat them every once in a while. But yeah, I'm a big, I don't know, for whatever reason, carb person in the morning. And I do usually I haven't been doing it often. This is kind of making me kind of recheck my my morning routine too. But I used to go to yoga, especially in the wintertime. I would go to hot yoga a couple times a week in the morning. I absolutely love that as a good way to start the day, especially because as estheticians or even like me working from home, I'm sitting a lot. My hip flexors are usually extremely tight. Also my back from posture not sitting correctly. So I find also getting some physical exercise. I applaud myself for walking every morning. That's been a great routine. I'm starting to get my body moving first thing in the morning, but I do enjoy, I really notice a huge difference in my day when I do yoga or some type of meditation as well. So come the fall, I have gone to hot yoga a few times this summer, but it is just like too much. I feel like I'm sweating so much, and then I go and do some other activity in the afternoon as well, and then I'm sweating even more. So I cannot keep enough liquids in my body to be able to do that, as well as just the hydration in general in the summer. It's just a lot. We've had a pretty hot summer here, so I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm just saying I feel like I could definitely use some other type of exercise. But each day kind of looks different for me. I try to categorize my days. Mondays are usually very busy with admin. I find it's kind of my day. I find everyone's very productive on Mondays, which I love. So I usually get a lot of calls from whether that's distributors, wholesalers, because other spas and salons are usually closed on Mondays. So that gives us a nice day to kind of hear a lot of orders. I go to the storage unit usually between I try to do my calls and everything and catch up on emails first thing in the morning. And then usually around 10, 11, I'll head over to our storage unit where we have all of our Muskoka Beauty products. I call it our little warehouse. It's actually just technically a garage that we have our supplies in. So after the busy weekend of orders, I usually spend quite a few hours in there preparing all the orders, getting them ready to be shipped out. That is a process I don't think a lot of people realize is the actual prepping all the boxes, making sure all the products are in there, double checking, as well as shipping, creating all of our labels, as well as I actually physically have to go to our post office. Our post office will not come to us to pick up. So I load everything into my car and then I go and drop off there. Then a lot of the time, if the girls need stuff picked up for the spa, or I need to stop in there to drop off some in-store pickups, or if they need products and supplies as well, I'll go into the spa to drop those off. And then I usually had either home or I usually try to grab something to eat. That is the other thing, is I feel like by the time I'm all done that, it's usually around 3:00 and my day is half over at that point. So I try to get something else to eat and then I'll head into some more work and doing some more admin. On this podcast, we always talk about nutrition and how important our gut health is, as well as how our brains function when we're eating superfoods, and obviously the convenience of having those available. Personally, I'm a low-key, non-prep, don't like to be in the kitchen kind of person, and I'm sure a lot of my entrepreneurs and busy moms and busy people listening can completely relate to this. Now, if you haven't tried Revive or heard of it, it's definitely a game changer. With my promo code and my affiliate links linked below, you will be able to receive 50% off your first order / box of these delicious pre-portioned superfoods that can be delivered right to your door with free delivery at checkout. So Just hit the link below for the affiliate links as well as the promos to get 50% off your first box of these delicious pre-portioned meals that you're going to be thanking me for later. Mondays are a very creative day for me too. I think because after having a break of the weekend, I really try to step away from my computer on weekends. This is very hard for me to do, but I feel like I benefit from it a lot at the beginning of the week, especially because I don't feel as burnt out of working all weekend. So that's something John and I try our best to do, is to unplug during the weekend and try to spend some quality time together, try to get outside, do things that we love doing together. And then my Tuesday is actually like more of a me day. I have a lot of activities that are on Tuesdays. I'm becoming like a hobby person. I never thought I would be a hobby person. I think I'm trying to do a lot of things now that kind of give me that childhood joy again of being a kid and just being thankful for what we can do as humans. I had an accident last summer where I wasn't very mobile in one of my arms. I had basically no mobility, and it kind of gave me a reality check that, you know what, I need to take care of my body. I need to take advantage of being young and healthy. So on Tuesdays, I go horseback riding actually. So that's kind of a fun fact about myself. I used to horseback ride a lot when I was younger, and then I kind of got away from it when I was in high school. And then, getting into the work world, I just didn't have the finances to do it anymore. And I just didn't have the time or energy. And then during COVID, I got back into it because it was one of the only things we could do during lockdown was take care of the animals. So it was great for me to get back into doing that. So I ride usually once or twice a week. So my Tuesday afternoon, that's kind of like my little lunch break. I go out to the farm and I go riding, and I'm working on this old thoroughbred, this old track horse that used to do racing. So we've really worked on him for the past few years, learning how to jump, teaching him a lot of different like etiquettes and things like that he needs to do. He'll never, I don't think, be a school horse, but he is just like my pride and joy. He reminds me a lot of the horse I rode when I was younger. And I just feel so fulfilled after coming back from the farm. I just have so much fun there. Highly recommend, if you have something that you enjoyed doing as a kid, try to somehow get that back into your routine as an adult, whether that was music or swimming or mine, for example, was horseback riding. Like really try to figure out something that just makes the time go by so fast and you look forward to that all week, is that time with that hobby that you have passion for, and that just fills your cup back up. Then later in the afternoon, I'm kind of on like a standby for golf. That's another thing I just recently got into a couple years ago. John is like, his whole family loves golf so much, and it's really become something I've also started to enjoy. And so I usually try to go out for ladies' days on Tuesdays. So Tuesday's kind of like my me day, but it's also, I find, almost one of my more productive days because I have it all timed. Like I know I go to riding at 1, and then if I go to golf, it's usually at 5. So I know I have time blocks within my calendar of when I'm actually available to do work. And I find I'm almost more productive because it's almost like I'm getting a reward after, where, okay, if I'm super productive in the morning, I get to go horseback riding in the afternoon. Or if I'm really productive between riding and golf, I get to go golfing. So I really, really try to do that. I'm also very much a social person. I love to be out and about. I love to be with other like-minded people. And everywhere I go to do, whether it's horseback riding or golf, I'm surrounded by people that I love to be around. So I just feel like I come home with a whole other kind of feel of energy. I just feel amazing after. And then my Wednesday, a lot of the time, my Wednesdays are once again calls and or podcast recordings to get ready for the next Tuesday for when we have guests on, or whether that's solos, as well as kind of like, usually I go into the spa just to help the girls out, or orders, inventory, purchasing, that kind of thing. Each day kind of looks a little bit different. I feel like it is hard for me sometimes to time block because I'm kind of, like I said, on call, or things come up that just need my immediate attention. I do always write my weekly goals of things that I need to get accomplished, as well as my daily goals that are ideally need to happen if it's a time crunch mandatory timeline that needs to be accomplished. Also right now, really exciting stuff happening with our product line. Like we are coming up with some new product launches. So Danny and I are on calls, are emailing and texting back and forth about different campaigns we're going to be doing. I feel like my age and stage right now with both businesses is very much creative, and that's like my favorite part, whether that's posting on social media, creating campaigns for advertising, as well as even just making the actual posts and how to go on Canva and create these really aesthetically pleasing posts that will hopefully get us some clients and or orders coming in. I have a great team at the spa. A lot of the girls there are really on top of everything. Like I said, we use Slack as our communications. So if things need to be ordered, our spa manager there, Allie, she's great. She hops online and purchases what we need. But I'm still in the back end, just making sure everything's paid correctly. All of our banking, payroll, all of the bookkeeping and such is all up to date. And then like my Thursday, Friday, once again, is pretty flexible in the sense of things happening. Usually Thursdays, if I have any appointments and things like that, is usually I try to structure that day. Same with other podcast recordings. I try to get those done. And then I just find that Friday, I also used to take Fridays off when I was working at the spa as my admin day. So that's what I find is my Fridays, I try to get everything finished up by usually about like 1-2 o'clock. And then I've actually been finding myself in at the spa on Friday afternoons. Fridays we close at 5, but we do a huge end of the week clean. If the girls need any extra time for training, we just brought in our lasers. So if the girls need any extra time for training with that, we try to get that done at the end of the week. We are doing our new booking system, so it's nice to have like those reviews at the end of the week, as well as if any questions come up over the weekend that they're ready to go on that Monday. Something else that we've actually started doing as well is having our monthly meetings as a group. So that way I love it. I can prepare our meetings. So what we're going to do is our next monthly special, any social media posts that people really remembered and really loved and we should do more of, any clients' concerns or things that clients had brought up or suggestions, I think is really important. Just having those open conversations with the girls. And then I usually try to go out, usually a couple times a week. I tried to get out for a hike as well. We're really fortunate. We have a lot of hiking trails here, and I try to take Millie with me and try to go with a friend or my sister and get her out with a puppy play date throughout the week, which is great because I feel like, I try to be the best dog mom I can be. I'm sure a lot of you can relate as well, but your day kind of gets away with you where you're like, oh, wow, it's 6 o'clock and I haven't been outside all day today, or she hasn't been outside all day today, as our dogs need to get outside, obviously. So that's something else I try to do. And I feel like to look at the hours you work in a week, it sometimes becomes really overwhelming. But I was just listening to this other podcast that was talking about time blocking. And instead of working like a 9-hour day straight, do like 3-hour blocking. So do your 3 hours in the morning, have a break, then do another 3 hours. And then even if you seem like you're really consistent and you've got that good workflow, you're probably going to be more productive at the end of the day with like a 2-hour, because those other 3-hour blocks, you were so productive. If you're a busy person like most of us and forget to take your vitamins every morning, Cara Vitamins has made it extremely easy to remember. What I personally do is I just put the box beside my coffee maker, because we all know I can't forget my coffee in the morning, and I make sure that my everyday vitamins are ready to go, either if I'm on the go and or I throw them in my purse. It's a great way to keep them all in a compact space, as well as keeping your cupboards and cabinets clean and simple. Now, with my promo code capital NME7GR, you will receive 50% off your first order. Now, another great thing I love about this business is they really care about you. Now, when you go online, they're going to ask you questions of why you need vitamins or what you're really needing in your everyday life. Personally, we all need a little bit of extra energy, maybe some extra magnesium, things like that. And this is a great way to keep the questions out of your mind when going to the grocery store and or a drugstore to pick up your vitamins. Now, once again, that promo code is capital NME7GR for 50% off your first order. Really making sure that you're setting yourself up for success. I personally am a to-do list person. I'm kind of crazy when it comes to that. I'm trying to get more clear on our missions of what we need to accomplish month by month. We have some really time-sensitive projects coming up. So I also spend a lot of time at night talking to distributors, trying to get communications figured out there. I just find the world's a lot more quiet then. So it's easier for me to do really detailed number crunching with our spreadsheets and figuring out like products and wholesale packages and all that. I find I'm almost better sometimes at night when the spa is closed for me to actually be able to focus on those things. And I actually find I'm almost more productive that time because it's like I'm more calm. I'll sit with a cup of tea or something before, or I'll have my like magnesium before bed, and I just find I'm a little bit more calm and I can really kind of listen to my thoughts more clearly, if that makes sense. So yeah, don't look at someone else's routine. I'm looking at all these YouTube videos and that's what prompted this video, or this podcast, but think of yourself and what you need. Like some days I might realize, you know what, I need a break. I need to actually be out of my house. I need to get away from my computer and I need to go into the spa and be around people. I need to be around my type of people. I need to book a lunch date with a friend. Even on weekends, we've been extremely social the past few weekends and realizing, you know what, maybe we do need a weekend of just like John and I, we haven't seen each other in a while. He's been away working in the city and I've been here, and we just need a weekend of just the two of us. And just listen to yourself. The world is a very busy place, a very noisy place. And I think sometimes we just need to tune in to what we personally need. I actually just went online and booked a spa weekend for my birthday in November because I feel like by the time November rolls around, I'm definitely going to need that weekend getaway, away from reality, away just from work, away from life for a little bit, just to have a weekend of John and I away for my birthday. And your future self will thank you. That's another thing that I find. Sometimes you have to put the time in to do things, but then your future self will thank you. So remember too that we only have a few months left before 2023 is over, and then we're bringing in 2024. So remember some of these things that your future self will thank you moving into that new year. Why start until January to instill some of these new routines or these new projects you want to bring on? There's no better time than now. And that's something that I've really tried to do this year, is living up to my full potential. That was my New Year's resolution for myself. I try to, instead of having like goals per se, I try to have something to live by, which was that. And I think I sometimes don't live to my full potential. I actually bring myself down, I think, quite a bit of like playing at the same field as everyone else. And I need to honor myself more. And I feel like a lot of you listening to this could probably relate as well, is we have so much to give. We have so much potential, whether that's our mind, body, soul. We have so much to give into this world. And it's something that we really need to honor for ourselves, as our future selves, as our current beings, because you don't want to be in that rocking chair as an 80-year-old and be like, wow, I was so young, so youthful, so much energy, and I didn't do the things I should have done. I, a lot of the time, will sit on my phone and be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And it's almost like I'm looking for an answer for something. And really go through your social media and see what is making you motivated, what is getting you excited, what is pushing you to be a better person. And purging. Like, I have done so much purging this year of whether that's things in my home that just don't make sense anymore of why I have them, clothing, books, technology, going through photos, documents, things like that, cleaning stuff out, as well as just situations. Like, why am I putting myself through this situation if it doesn't bring me joy anymore? And learning to say no. So be yourself, make sure you're playing up to your goals, make sure you're being the full you. Don't downplay just because you're trying to fit in with another group, or you're scared to be titled as a know-it-all or whatever. Like, I feel like, especially as women, it's hard sometimes to come up as that like boss mentality without people thinking you're the B word. We try to keep this podcast clean, so I'm going to call it the B word. But I feel like it's something that we're almost titled. But if a male, for example, was in a boardroom and said something around the same thing, they would not be rude about it. It's just so crazy how women want to kind of play safe all the time, where I kind of like to push the limits a little bit more. I'm very non-traditional that way. And I even find that in my day-to-day life as well as business. And that is what my challenge is to you, is to play to your full potential. Let's bring in the new year, or like finish up the new year and bring that even more potential into 2024, because before we know it, it's going to be here. It's coming fast. I can't believe summer is like pretty much over at this point. And I'm excited for all of you to be able to play up to your full potential, get into those routines that make sense for you. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. We do have some great promo codes that I advertise on here, like our good food boxes. That is something I live off of to make sure I'm eating healthy. I've got that routine. Same with the Revive Good smoothies. They're amazing. Like there's just so many things that you can get into your routine that's going to help you play the game as an entrepreneur, as well as live up to that full potential to be the best you. So if you have any questions or you have any suggestions, even of things that keep you on track, I'd love to hear more over on Beauty Behind the Brand on our Instagram. You can email us, just reach out anytime. We love to hear from all of you. And if you have any other podcast episodes, that are about entrepreneurship, the beauty world, self-care, self-habits, that would be amazing. I also feel like if you haven't read Atomic Habits, that book is a must read. I absolutely loved it. I read it at the beginning of the year and it just set my mind up to healthy habits. Highly suggest. We can put it in the show notes below as well. And enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure you're living up to your full potential. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.